Scott, me, and Nancy we were like the seniors in the class.
Love it.
All right.
They were running.
All right.
So,
I gotta check something real quick.
Chris can figure out how to get the slideshow going.
I'm not gonna worry about it. Hey, how are you? Hi, Emily. Thank you. Hi, guys. How are you? All right, where am I? Channel. Oh, live. Okay. Oh, live. Okay. Never mind. There we go.
I don't know. I don't think
Hard at work. It's all a smile, right?
Good. How are you?
Did you get it?
Did you see the smile?
I
Yes,
know.
you
I'm just
can.
like beaming. Can't you tell?
Oh, we're on correct. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Beamy. Yeah, beamy.
Did you get it?
All right. I got the live stream going. My slideshow won't play, but
Aw.
what the heck? All right.
There's nobody here that knows anything about.
No, the lady has tried so hard to help me. I can't. I don't know if I can even do it at this point. That's all right. Okay.
Yeah, I just haven't stepped forward
So-
because they don't want to be rude.
This is live right now, so anyway. Yeah, I'm afraid now if I
up there.
I know it's kind of embarrassed, but you know.
Whatever. Right, do we have one?
Yeah, I texted it. See if you click on it and see if it works. That's Ginger. Not Ginger.
So I think you share it with. Share it with all the marshals.
It's easier if I just share it. Yeah.
I don't want to give you extra work right
You want to email your mom? Oh, I can do your mom's. Okay. Yeah. Is Joe here yet? I think I'm good. I think I'm gonna just bypass the slideshow because I can't. Now I'm afraid since I got the camera set up, everything's good for the live stream. I'm afraid that if I plug an HDMI cable in, it's gonna blow it up. So, cool. It's no big deal. I can share it with you.
Now we can try to put the slideshow from your phone.
I wonder if I can get. So how would I do that?
What
It's
kind
an
of phone
Android.
is it?
It's not an Apple phone.
Does it have any connection? What sort of connection does it?
It looks like the same connection. The stream is, yeah. Type something in there. Yeah, I think that would fit, but I don't know like whether I could get. I can get the PowerPoint probably. Could try.
Is it in? Here,
I
can you
can
email it?
get it from my Google Drive. There we go. And computers, MacBook Pro, desktop.
Nobody's
There it
strong
is.
in the IT field here.
Not really. Well, there's the backdrop.
Let me go get my other
Oh,
adapter.
it's an
See
Apple.
if
Shoot, it's an Apple. Dang it, it's an Apple Photos.
can you email it to yourself and download it?
I probably could. Yeah.
I'll get some
Okay.
other adapters.
All right. Touch. Keynote, no. New. Let's see if I can download this. Where'd it go?
Or his mic. I've never seen it.
Yeah, no, I'm not
Export, create.
So exciting. I sent it to all the nurses too.
I know how to pull it on.
Do.
That's how I do it. Straight to the TV thing.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
You could have one that's current today.
Is Joe here? Yeah. That's weird. He's not. Is Mandy here yet? Oh, there's Mandy.
Oh. Did you want to try it or no?
I would. I can't figure out how to save a copy of this. I tried to.
Are you guys starting at 2?
Tried to export it.
What about share? Share through mail
Share.
or Google.
Share. Mail. Okay.
Now, is this the same? Is this USB
I think
C?
it'll fit.
Do you want us to go ahead and share that link or wait?
No, you can go ahead. This is working fine.
Okay.
I just don't know. We'll see, Joe.
Oh, so Joe went off the road and he's okay. I'm not sure that he's coming, which means we don't have mittens. Apparently Dan and Denise don't have access to this.
So who's? I don't even know.
Andy's got most of it figured out.
Okay, good. I'll go talk to her.
That doesn't fit. I'm thinking maybe
Oh, okay.
if there's another device that you can share it to.
I don't know, to be honest with you. It's really no big deal.
Not that big of a-
That's
okay.
kind of like the least.
Okay, that's the major part. Okay.
Yeah. So thank you.
All right. Wish I could be more helpful.
That's all right.
I'll sign up for IT school.
No, there you go.
Oh,
All right. I gotta go.
Well, they said they were phasing out our viewers. Well, we asked about that. No, there wouldn't be any retraining. Well, that was, it took 25 years for those guys realized they were still in there.
Still some viewers.
They didn't get rid of it as fast as they loved it.
They don't get rid of anything.
Good to hear.
Funny one was, he's supposedly transitioning from KC-5 out to the refueler for KC-10. Well, it turns out KC-10 was such a bad. She's alive.
Zach actually kicked his emerald as he says he wanted to take it back.
Right, yeah. Well, that's true.
Oh, we're gonna do this. Okay. I said, oh, we're doing this. Okay.
Well, you don't have to. I'll send it, but I'll message this to you.
I'm smashing. You can't tell.
I'll say, I told her to fly.
I travel to.
Disobeying per usual.
You never from one place to another, you go to a better place and relax.
Oh my God, he's a chicken.
I really laughed my butt off
Yep.
there when I saw.
He's a chicken. That one.
She
He doesn't
does.
have much of a filter.
Her little girl said, "Why don't you graduating? Will we ever see you again?"
She thought I was running away.
I could say no because I never see it. You just keep going back to school.
My 7-year-old goes, of course she is. He goes, what the heck is that? He goes, what, Dad can handle all 3 of us? No way. This is my husband's name. Oh, nice. Getting over the They did an exercise of us listening. Nancy's job was to ignore me while I was talking. And she's like, flailing. Right, I didn't know that. We were told to be really rude, talking to mom, young, things really wrong. So I couldn't, yeah, just. Yeah. Fun, and exciting. She apologized for
Put it out fire. First one was one trailer, but they got it out real quick. Then we were back 2 days later. Really set up that time. We got it now. And then 3 nights ago, the Methodist church, somebody broke the window with a key. And there was somebody that saw it. So we were busy doing that. We say the church, all the condition and stuff like that, because where they threw it, so there are a little bit of construction. And still a lot of people. Yeah. There's like HE upstairs, H there. We were hoping that.
How does that work?
He ultimated threat. They could hold him. They had enough evidence to hold him. But especially on New Year's Eve, they had to arrest him. No, again. You get a bunch of drunk firefighters around. On my honor, I'll do my best to do my duty. Well, that's the Boy Scouts.
It's Boy Scouts.
Jeez.
Because I'm gonna look like an idiot. Yeah, don't hold my table. Center, isn't it?
I put you first.
Oh, thank you.
My slideshow. Yeah.
This is our Florence Nightingale. I should look at this cross.
That was the thing I told you. All right, try to pronounce. That's why I asked if we were saying it together. She don't seem like I'm having nervous degree if I just say it by myself. They're like, how did they get hurt?
And you guys are singing this?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean,
Although anything's possible in this crowd.
no, this is not my. This is for you.
But I volunteered you and sang for us.
No. So. Yeah, he came in. Especially not things. Right. Yeah. And the second day,
He's okay, but
I said, I'm not. I said, I'm sorry. So, you know how this is.
Right.
Or it just like snow, and it just covered, and ball tires, and it just covered my driveway. It was zooming out.
You know, I don't know where he is with it. The slideshow, I don't think is working, but the live stream is.
Oh,
And
okay.
that's the more important thing to him.
right, yeah.
So I think he's fine
There you go.
for now. Thank you for all your help.
Oh, no problem.
It's kind of you guys to try to get that going for him. Oh, Spencer. Oh, there's a, oh, it's not that. It's, well, that's probably unplugged so that, he's probably gonna plug that in as soon as it starts.
We had like a like scattered, but not enough to like really.
The slideshow was
Like,
really
there wasn't enough for
so
someone
his son does IT in another state, and she was trying to help him over the phone, but we wanted to get the slideshow to work. So it's all right. We don't need to come out. And it was nice and cute.
I had to call you the whole time we're doing that. Oh, the Andrew Princess. Now, this is the third time we've had it. Yeah, the third time you've never got it.
Right.
I still don't understand what you're talking about.
Andrew's definitely mine.
Cardiac, I just got one place. I'm going. Come on.
Can we help you, sir?
Dad said, are you going to court? My father was 87 today. He was born on 1, 2, 3,
I got you. I was like, how formal was that? If I got an idea.
Oh, yeah.
It's not even showing it. Oh, she plugged the HDMI back in.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you did? Oh, shoot. I hope that didn't mess up my live stream.
Well, who are you streaming it for? Which is more important?
Hang on. Oh, goodness. Are you on the live stream?
No, no, but let me
It looks like it's still okay. Good. Nope. Can't really. Yeah, I appreciate it.
I'm sure.
Okay.
All
right.
He gave us all some
Yeah.
great
That's
he says he's a couple lines
There,
short,
people nowadays,
but I think once we wordsmith it to make it more.
auto stop, auto off.
Yeah, he's missing some of the.
I like to push the gas to like, and then your vehicle like, hold on.
That'll make it.
Oh, I know, it's still easy. There's too much functionality.
In the city, if you're driving, stop the road for a bit, his lights. I feel like they have to use Google to start it up.
I'll play with it. You know, all we did was. I have my Jeep. I actually realized.
Oh, yeah. I just bought it. There's got to be a way. That's what I'm saying. I agree. Oh yeah, well, nowadays. Oh, really? Yeah.
Don't bother.
Yeah, we've got.
how that works. Because they made it sound like they were gonna be lowering them. Three to 5 weeks, depending on it's hard right now. They just read it. So it's gonna be what the need is. It'll be 3 to 5 weeks. 1, 2, 3 weeks. They'll send me down. Both of the girls that did it here.
So this is just a legal thing. You don't even know. Well, no, I have oh yeah. Like I said, it's the same. Everything's the same. But like I said, I'm good. I should have I noticed like the mini screen somewhere.
Oh, yeah,
You cannot pass. And I was just like, oh,
she's pretty good about
So you're saying like if you have like a USB that connects to that in the back, you can plug it up in the back and it'll play on the Oh, no, I got
That's how. I don't
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I remember.
Oh, yes, yeah,
And my mother.
They called me. It was actually the day of the
I'm not working on Monday, and
short turnaround. I was like, don't have to, I was do it Tuesday or Friday.
so they said when you have one open, so I thought maybe that's.
They didn't require it. They were like, if
Why
you
it
want
comes
to.
to mind, but we're here because of salts and I don't know what to salt
I spent a lot of time researching
Yeah.
this.
So, and it was
I've got one.
Yeah. So, not interested. But I figured I'll get the interview experience, whatever. And then I also applied to St. Joe's. Just yesterday. Not yet.
It's amazing how fast we do things.
Yeah. Do you have a job? Is that for the home house? This.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, they want so good at that. Yeah, too expert. Yeah. Yeah. True. Yep.
Yes.
This is a priority. You will take care of it. You will tell me why you can't.
Yes, you did, yeah, you did.
I can't believe it.
Remember when I was doing all that practicing with the guitar?
We got through it together.
We got through it together. Oh, wow. It was good, we did it.
It's great. All right, I'm gonna collect my numbers, order some pizza. Are anybody saying for after party? Are you or anybody saying for after party? For the after party?
Or the after party.
Yes.
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 That's it. Why did they have the after party before? I don't know. That's why.
How many for you?
Two.
I didn't get enough. The Weather Channel.
Waiting for a couple of people to show up. So give us maybe 5 minutes or so, and then we'll get this show on the road.
What's that?
Good. I got permission to do something for this. Basically, what it's done. So it's not set time.
Oh, good.
I didn't know how long it was.
Yeah.
Live streaming on YouTube.
Oh, nice, because some of us,
How are you?
Mike, you- what?
Oh, look, we're wearing the red.
He said, no, we're late anyway.
Keep her in line, Tyler. Keep her in line.
Do you know what?
Yeah, because Zach hasn't been able to get. I think there might still be.
Slacker?
So they're having a hard time. Maybe he's.
Yeah.
What do you think?
They didn't need it.
Not mad at you.
No,
It's like
something
when
probably
you're,
went wrong. I don't know. Or something didn't get it for some reason. Or they just don't get it. But
says they're open. They're open Saturday, 11 a.m. Let me go out in order when they're not gonna.
So is that
I know.
And he's retired.
So for my, she's the recruiter, and she'll be able to tell you who would.
That's how my drill sergeant was at.
That's mostly
Pass the light. I said, we've done it. And I kept running.
She was like, no, but if you,
Close.
were you doing the shot film?
But that doesn't surprise me.
They won't pay you direct. But they don't have a pronunciation right now. They just said. I don't have to remember this one, but I don't know if I see it. But they were like, oh, but we're gonna do this. Yesterday.
He's just so sick. He's an egg pure.
Some places.
Oh,
I wish I had.
Yeah, you know. It's how you feel.
That's all.
So.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a little bit of a delay.
And so what I've been trying to do is get them talk about level 6.
Is that you're not really worried about everyone else.
And I think I was talking about this stuff. And so we're and we got a back there and all of a sudden start seeing. That's why we're.
Was planning on.
Yes. That's not like for, yeah.
I had to buy that. Use that money to buy hats.
Or 9 years. Even on the road, say just a person just said that it would be like 5 more minutes. Oh, it'll be 5 more minutes. Oh, we're all Christmas totally went by. Did you notice it's Star Wars? That's too old.
I don't, he's like, well, things are, so you're right. This was 170. And then I got the job, then I put on it, I was 80 pounds.
It's okay, you're employed. That's all that matters, right? And then you're trying everything. This is Alyssa. She works at me. This is Chris.
There's like
I
4 or
went
5
to
of
Chris.
us that just look at me.
For once in my life.
Yes, pretty much.
I realized that I, aside from like like, I just use somebody. Most of the seniors. That was the only one that was on 3 West.
Oh, yeah.
I did all of them on 3 West. I spent an entire year there.
Your partner?
No, I was on 1, but I only had a few days, so it was my late retirement. Yeah.
And hers was
Yes, so I was on 2. Yeah. With Laurel. Yes. Yeah, we were stuck at my general the entire time. I literally, like, my med student was 3 West. I didn't even go to a different unit. Yeah. It's the only one I had. Yeah, you went there.
actually, that was a better experience.
3 West, because I went to St. Joe's.
Yeah. St. Joe's.
Yeah, towards the.
You just did it so you'd have
You're
somebody
following.
hands on.
Yeah, I did, so I could have them Saturday.
Yeah.
Because Donna was only working Saturday.
Okay. Yeah. We'll find you later, Glory.
I like.
Yeah, that third. That last one.
No, no, in St. Joe's.
Oh, yeah. What'd you
Not Ashley. One of those that was Michelle. Because she's my phone because she likes she got Etsy, she makes ear everybody liked that.
Alyssa? Yes. Yes. It wasn't supposed to be like this.
So pretty much like so all the payments system saves all that kind of stuff. Yep.
How did we get into that?
Actually, from
Yeah.
she works for the company. She's training and asked me about it.
It's out of Alabama, the base.
Our biggest client right now is a Circle K. So any Circle K, you know, there's a registration yeah, Circle K's are all nationwide.
It won't call that.
You do a lot of driving.
That was the majority of this drop is driving. Yes. Yes. Yes, it is.
What's the hardest part about that?
I mean, the hardest part is I have to think when someone new, someone learns something.
Yep, it was right at the beginning of last morning.
It's really hard to go breathe, and get a mask on. She's going crazy with the kids.
Yeah, so. Mine were pretty. My two are interested in it. My youngest she loves anatomy. For her birthday, she asked for was like books on how the body works. She watches. They actually make kids cartoons on it, surprisingly. So it was helpful because she would like to study with me. So I learned something. It made it a little easier.
I got Sarah DeRocher waiting. Janet, Amy, I sent it to you.
Oh, yeah, she knows it all. She tells you what it does. Yeah. She's a food. Yeah. So it made it easier that she was that interested in it. It made it easier to study with her. But
So I could see you're probably getting into like, architecture.
oh, she wants to know how everything works, why it works, and she doesn't stop.
I would say that you have two pages to do.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Or a vet.
Yes.
She loves animals.
Yeah. She is.
Maybe about a year. Before that, I was actually a general manager. And that's where I got to learn technology.
Those are all
I'm doing that for long aspect of things. I was in
One of the girls, I don't know, I was doing a and then as soon as one of my friends, she's going to see her. Okay. Are they? She's like, you're
I'd love to introduce you to my family. They're not all here, actually. No panic.
Not a huge family.
Yeah. My husband Nate. My son David. He's a BS student also.
Didn't even get a chance to put my shoes on. Didn't get a chance to put my shoes on. You see my socks?
My wife, Dorothy. This is the man, the myth,
The man in
Yeah, we do sometimes. Just start going back to school.
One of these days.
Yeah.
We've got all the knowledge.
All right.
It's
kind of like a typical.
Do you want me to do this right now?
Okay, I'll just. All right, let's go. I don't know. Well, I think it works. I think it works. You won't be able to see it. Maybe not. How's that?
Do you have it turned on? Okay.
There, how's that? How about if I just talk real loud? Well, welcome to this pinning ceremony of Cohort 3. Really glad that everybody came. I'm Dan, and I'm on the faculty. I'm not originally the person that was going to MC this today. It's typical of this cohort, as you all know. Something is bound to go wrong, right? So in the pinning, it would be fitting. It would be really kind of sad if nothing went wrong. So we've got a lot of things that went wrong, which is very, very good for everybody here. But Joe, our fearless leader and program director, was on his way up here from Augusta and got knocked off the road by it's fine. He got knocked off the road by a truck, and he's down in Waterville somewhere waiting for 3 hours for somebody to pick him up. So unfortunately, he couldn't make it. We've got a couple other faculty that are on their way, and they'll be here probably sometime in the middle of when I'm talking, so they will say a few words. And I'm one of the faculty, and I've known this cohort since their second class, which is the first class that I've ever taught in my life was this class, which was fundamentals. And I can never, ever forget being in the lab after the first class and looking at everybody's face, and we were going over all the facial nerves, and everybody's eyes just glazed right over. How in the world am I ever going to remember these facial nerves? And I can remember every other body system. This is impossible, and I'm never going to be able to do it. And everybody just kind of was a little discouraged, I think, for that first day. And then I also had the pleasure of teaching them mental health, which is really my main class. And I also did pharmacology with this group. And then the last class, which they just did, which is transitions to nursing practice. And I just can't tell you the difference. And I don't know if you all as family members have seen the difference in your loved ones as far as their education and their knowledge and their critical thinking skills and their ability to really be what a nurse is. But I could really see it from that first day in clinical to the last day in nursing transitions. The transition was just unbelievable. I know I've said this to all of you in class before, but I think your loved ones really need to hear just how proud we are to see the things that you've done. I was talking to one of the group, one of the students, and they were doing their clinical experience down at the emergency department down in Ellsworth. And they were just spewing off 10-letter words and procedures and working on saving this person's life and saving that person's life, all in their clinical time in their last class. And it just blew me away. I was thinking, oh my goodness, every single one of these individuals is going to save countless lives, make people's lives better, soothe people. It's just really, it's unbelievable. You just can't believe how proud it makes a faculty person. And I know you as family members and loved ones are proud as well, but for us, it's really kind of special because we get to see the whole process, the whole thing, from one excruciatingly long 3.5-hour lecture to the next 3.5-hour lecture to lab to clinical and just see the transition. It's really been fantastic. But this group has been through a lot. So I know everyone here has been through a lot. So this is the end of 2020, or the beginning of 2021. And as is typical of 2020, it hasn't been all that great. There's been a lot of changes. There's been a lot of frustration. There's been a lot of things that have gone right. There's been a lot of things that have gone wrong. This class has seen a lot of changes. Seen faculty changes, having to go online and then back in-person classes. And it's been difficult. And I would just say that I can't think of a better training for a nurse. I mean, typically, you look at what nurses do, and you walk into a patient's room, and you think to yourself, I have a job or a procedure or a practice that I have to do right now, and you look at the persons before you, and it's not like it was in school. And you have to adapt, and you have to overcome. And I can tell you that this group knows how to do that. They know how to adapt and overcome to adversity and to difficulty and to changes, and they've succeeded clearly. This is, for me, I mean, it's the most, I'd say, memorable opinion. I think it'll probably be memorable for you because, number one, we don't have any pins to do, which I think is kind of interesting, which is typical of this cohort again. So we miss out on that. We will have them, but unfortunately, Joe had them locked in his locked office in a locked desk, and he had the key, so we couldn't get to the pins. But we have another plan, so we can at least commemorate that. But one of the things that I really wanted to do, and I'm sure that the nursing students, well, not students any longer, but full-fledged nurses would want to say to you is thank you all for sticking with each and every one of these students throughout this time. It is not easy. It's not easy for them, but we recognize that it's not easy for you either. I mean, I did this 28 years ago, and my wife is here, and she can tell you it was not easy for her either. Definitely it's not an easy thing to do. And your support and the things that you've done to help them throughout this whole process, it means a lot. I know it means a lot to them, it means a lot to us, and it means a lot to the world at large because your loved ones are going to go out and do incredible things in this world in medicine. Really, they already have. They've already started to do things. Another kind of interesting thing about this group is typically like at my clinic, which I remember actually fairly well. I just don't remember all the details, so I'm not really quite sure I have an agenda for you all, but I remember that we were all very, very anxious, proud and happy that we were nurses, but very anxious because we had to pass the NCLEX, which is really, it doesn't really matter if you don't pass the NCLEX. But interestingly enough, this group is all full-fledged, not only nurses, but licensed nurses in the state of Maine. So that, I think, deserves like a round of applause. They don't have to worry about passing the NCLEX. Or some of you do, not some of you.
Okay. I'm not plugged into that, so it's not me.
Yeah, is that an ad?
It's probably, yeah.
It's not, but I'm not plugged into. No. It's not me. It's not It's not anything on my screen.
Oh, he's getting ready to get up.
Chris
Do you
needs
know
to
what
get
it
up.
is? Do you think you might know?
So it's not this, right? No, I don't. There's nothing that's open on my screen.
I'm thinking about the music board, the soundboard for controlling.
Oh.
It's coming out of the speakers, right?
Yeah. No, I don't have anything that's open. No. I can close all my tabs just for the heck of it.
I mean, you're just connected with video.
Yeah,
right?
and the Wi-Fi. Yeah,
and the Wi-Fi.
I'm receiving the Wi-Fi.
So how is it getting to the? What kind of connection? It's just through Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I mean, all I've got here is the cameras hooked into my
Yeah.
USB port into my computer, and
Yeah.
I'm streaming via the.
Yeah, when you're doing a live stream, it's not going to interrupt with an ad.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what the heck it is.
Something to do with the soundboard.
I know, that's so strange.
Sometimes there's knobs in the backs of the rooms for turning. Oh, they got it. There.
Technical difficulty number one, we solved So really, again, thank you very much for all coming and for supporting everyone that's throughout this whole period of time. It's been a very, very difficult, I'd say 18 months or so, a little bit longer for some, a little bit shorter for a few, but it's definitely been paid off. So you might wonder, if you Google nursing, if you look for the most trusted profession on the planet, Google it sometimes if you want to, and nursing comes up as number one. So it comes up before clergy, comes up before police, comes up before any other occupation on the planet. So this group that's entering into this brotherhood, I guess, or sisterhood, or combined hood of nursing, are going to be known as the most trusted profession on the planet. And I can tell you that from my perspective, and I've gotten to know every single one of cohort number 3, and I can tell you that I would trust them to take care of any of my loved ones, to take care of me in a second, because they're all extremely trustworthy. They're all very good at what they do. And I can prove that because not this cohort, but a cohort before this, I actually was in St. Joseph's Hospital for a couple of days. And I get to my room, and who do I see? But one of my former students is a nurse that was one day out of orientation. And, you know, I can tell you, she's a very good student, just like all of you are very good students. And I was there for 2 days, and I don't know how many nurses, but I can't tell you how great she was as a nurse. And that's what you've got to look forward to, each and every one of you, and know that all the support that you've given them is going to be, you know, translated into some of the best care that people can get. And she's fantastic. All the nurses I had, it's not just because I had an affinity for this person, I knew her, and she's one of my students, because she was really good at what she did. She knew what to do. She wasn't anxious. She wasn't nervous. She dotted all her I's and crossed all her T's, knew exactly what she was doing. She was one day out of orientation. I was very impressed. And I've been doing this for, 28 years or so I can kind of tell when the nurse knows what they're doing, what they don't know what they're doing. This nurse does, and I can assure you that every single one of these nurses knows exactly what they're doing. I've had them at numbers of classes, clinical experiences, from the first clinical experience in mental health, and then seeing them in their last clinical experience. And they're expert nurses. They really are. They might be, brand new at doing this, but you can be assured that they're very good at what they do. Very, very proud of each and every one of them. I'd like to have Mandy come up for a minute. So many of you maybe know Mandy Tiggett. She's our class president.
I'll be right back.
While Mandy's doing that, I would like to, we have a couple of honors that we'd like to give out. One is for the most accomplished clinical experience. And is Joe here?
Who's over there?
Joe, you're the one.
It was the best of times, it was the worst.
Yeah, well, we're very, very proud. I mean, your clinical skills were definitely, everybody, we voted, all the faculty voted and said, Joe is the guy we want to be honored.
Oh, awesome.
Thank you very much. and Michael, is Michael here?
Mm.
Michael isn't. Okay. I love the name, Michael.
We actually call him Thumbs Up Jordan. Maybe watching right now.
And I've often said to this group, so I know that we pointed out just a couple of people, so for clinical excellence and for academic excellence. But, you know, I've been doing this for a little while, not long in the education department, but I've had a few cohorts go through. And as long as there's no other cohorts in here, right? This is definitely a smart group. This is the smartest group that we've had go through, you know, as far as scores go, as far as our clinical experiences and those evaluations that we get back from the preceptors. So you can all be proud of that too. A lot to be proud of. So Mandy, would you like to?
Yeah.
Oh, Emily.
Don't be shy. I'm not very good at improv, so I'm like prepared with my speech. And I told Liz when I was doing my speech, I was like, oh, I love public speaking. I love this. I'm like so nervous right now. You guys should probably do an EKG because I'm going to collapse. Right, like, so you should check me. I probably have to do that. No, so I did write a speech, you know, when I was writing it. I didn't really know where I was going to begin. So I just had like a lot to think and a lot to say. And it was such a whirlwind that I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't get anything on the paper. So I thought what I would do is just start from our very beginning. And that takes us back to our nursing orientation day. And I bet every single student in this cohort knows exactly what I'm thinking right now. Right after our nursing orientation day. And I promise that's not where I'm going for this. That's not where I'm going. So for all of you family members and whatnot, you can ask him. They'll explain it. That's fine. What I'm actually talking about, and I'm kind of sad that Joe isn't here because in a way it's a little bit directed toward him. But I'm talking about like how we all went into nursing school, right? So we went in very wide-eyed, very anxious. We were excited, we were ambitious, and then Joe started talking. And he started by telling us that we weren't going to be able to work full-time. And we were soon questioning like how he could tell us that we had to put a minimum of 20 hours of study time in a week. And if we didn't prioritize that way, we weren't going to make it. We weren't going to make through nursing school. And we wondered, like, does he know that we have a family? Does he know that we do have jobs and we have kids and we have other obligations? Just so many things that we had to do. And I think we just wondered, like, he was trying to break us down and scare us away right out of the gate. But he wasn't. He definitely wasn't. And what it was is he wanted us to know that nursing school is definitely not for the weak. And is not for the faint of heart. And it's not just something that somebody decides one day, randomly, they're just going to go do nursing school for the fun of it. It's not what we do. What he wanted us to know and what he wanted us to feel was his passion. And he wanted us to understand, you know, the depth of what we were about to embark on and the seriousness of the impact that we were going to make on, you know, people's lives. So we took that, and despite all of that anxiety-provoking information we had gotten from him, we did feel inspired. We decided to put each foot in front of the other and start moving along that path of nursing school. And I'd like to tell you that the anxiety soon faded away. Well, let me tell you what, that is a far cry from the truth. And actually that anxiety magnified, right? Multiplied, triplified, just snowballed, and it soon became a magnitude of stress. And so what we did was we tried learning math for nurses to figure it out. But that was not what we needed to learn. That didn't help. So it took a couple of mental breakdowns for us to get through that. My husband can tell you that very well about the second weekend of every single month. I probably cried and freaked out for a minute, and then we carried on and everything was fine. But what really helped us was when we got to our psych class and Dan helped us all diagnose ourselves with at least one personality disorder. I'm just kidding. We finally thought we had it figured out after Dan's class. We've done well, we were getting great grades, and things were going wonderful. And then we hit Denise's class. And the best thing about that was that we figured out that iodine and shellfish are always the answer. So I'm funny. I like to be funny. That's how I get my nerves out, right? But in all seriousness, we really didn't get to this moment alone. So without every single person in this room, and others that of course are probably watching that couldn't be here, unfortunately, you know, you guys are what got us here. You know, we missed out on a lot of things, right? So we missed out on family events, probably family dinners. I know I've missed out with my kids' practices and games. You know, some people have children, and so just playing with them in general because mom or dad's too busy right now because we have to study. It's really just you guys' support and your sacrifice and the encouragement that allowed us to do, you know, whatever we needed to do to get through it all over these last 2 years. So I just want to point that out, that likely without you guys, we wouldn't be sitting here and standing here right now. So we just really thank you guys from the bottom of our hearts for that. It means a lot, and you guys should really just, I hope you feel what we feel in this moment, I guess. It's not just our moment, it should be your moment as well. Which brings me to my next group of thank yous. So I do have more thank yous. So I should thank, it's not just me, actually, we should all thank our lab instructors. I was thinking about this. So we should thank them for not making us practice on each other, right? So IVs and catheters and stuff, I don't want an empty going down my throat. So, you know, I was happy to have them in here. So thank you guys for that. I was going to thank Medi and Thumbs Up Jordan because Liz and I saw what they did when we had to practice blood draws, and they can thank us later for being there on that. I should thank Danielle. I should thank her. She educated our entire class regarding the treatment for syphilis. I really hope that nobody is allergic to penicillin, so thank you for that, Danielle. Also, Alyssa, where's Alyssa? Is your sister here? She's not here? Well, we need to thank her as well. I think we had a hand in getting the cricket business up and running. The last I heard it was called The Content is a Content. So that would be good. And what else do I have? I have 3 more thank yous. I think one went to Nurse Sarah. So she was always there when we needed her. I was going to thank Joe. Liz and I took a tally. I think it was like, how many times did one of us say, I'll email Joe, or I'll ask Joe? And I think we tallied like 2,347 times, maybe? I don't know. And then the last thank you I had was a really heartfelt thank you. And it goes to Quizlet. Because everybody knows it.
Amen.
So that's all the jokes I have. I do want to close, and I have a few thoughts regarding the description of a nurse. I wanted to just figure something out about that, so I did a little bit of research. And, you know, what I found was, I found this nursing blog. This nurse gave a quote. And what she did was she took a survey to see what kind of adjectives people would use to describe nurses. And she states that she was delighted. She didn't get any negative responses, right? So she was expecting to hear things like, oh, they're overworked and underpaid, and that's just a grouchy old lady that wants to poke people for fun. She didn't hear anything like that. But what she did get was things like compassion, angels in white, hardworking, other words like attentive, responsible, caring, meticulous, educated, productive, intelligent, thoughtful, motivated, goal-oriented, merciful, team player, lots of different words. And she thought they were all nice descriptions, but she chose to focus on one specific word, and that word was empathy. And so what she did from there was she researched the definition of empathy. What does empathy mean? And she got definitions like identification with understanding of another situation's feelings and motives, or vicarious experiencing of the feelings, thoughts, or attitudes of another. But it wasn't really good enough for her, and I think that's what got me. She decided to direct her own thoughts about empathy and what she thought it was after she read the definition and understood what that meant. And so she decided that empathy to her wasn't a description, it was the actions of a nurse, right? And I think that makes a lot more sense. And she gives a list of descriptions, and I'm gonna go through them, and I think that as I do, every nurse that sits in this room, even if you're not a student, I know there's a couple other people that are nurses here that have been for a while, but it just relates to everybody. So she says, empathy is a nursing student working a 13-hour shift and forgetting to eat or stopping to use the bathroom because the patient's needs are placed above his or her own. Empathy is a nursing student walking down the hall to a pediatric patient's room every hour to collect a diaper, inspect it, weigh it, and chart the less than pleasant findings. Empathy is a nursing student going into the hospital the night before their shift and spending hours upon hours researching every aspect of their assigned patient to provide the best care possible the next day. Empathy is a nursing student who learns to hide the repulsed look their face so desperately wants to make as they change a dressing or empty a drain. Empathy is a nursing student who cares so much about her education, she leaves class at the end of the school day to work an overnight shift or arrives first thing in the morning for that 8 a.m. class after having worked all night. Empathy is a nursing student who comes home after a series of 4-hour-long lectures at school and still has enough homework to fill up the night, but cooks and cleans and takes care of his or her family despite their exhaustion. Empathy is a nurse who learns to just be silent in the moment with a patient who just needs someone to cry with. And most of all, empathy is a nurse who takes his or her profession seriously with patients' precious lives in their hands, double checks their work, and delivers safe, professional, and holistic care. The nurse views nursing not as a job or a task, but as a service to others to ensure the patient has the best quality of life possible. So that struck me because like I said, I know that every person in this room that has done nursing has experienced at least one of those things that were mentioned. So we're just really, truly fortunate to be able to become such an intimate part of people's lives. And that pretty much sums it up for me. Just thanking Beal's nursing faculty for teaching us and guiding us into the nurses that we are becoming. And I just wanted to leave with Joe, and this also makes me sad that he's not here, because I was just going to say, with that, in the words of Joe, Joe always says, people will never remember what you said, but they will always remember how you made them feel. So that's my closing.
I will tell you that for me, nursing is exactly what you pointed out. And I will tell you that I've seen lots of nurses, hundreds of nurses in my career. And these nurses exemplify everything that you said. And we've seen it day in and day out, week in, week out, clinical, class, questions, input. We've seen you stressed, and we've seen you successful. And now we've seen you completed, at least starting the process off. And it's really I don't know how many times I can say this, but it is a huge feeling of pride when it comes from us, from the faculty, to see what you've done and to know the millions of people astronomically that you will basically touch through as a collective group. It's really, really exciting to see. So I'm really glad and happy that you guys are nurses.
So are we.
And it's not easy, so no matter what anybody says, these pre-licensure professions are not easy. Nursing is one of the hardest ones there is. And nurses are the people that when you're in a hospital and you're sitting down with patients, they'll talk with the doctor for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, the doctor will give them information, and the patient's head will be swimming, and then Mandy or one of you will show up and have to answer all those questions again, calm the nerves and explain the situation, and look at the labs again on a regular basis, 12 hours a day, 24 hours a day. And that's what nursing does, and that's why it takes empathy and caring and kindness, because that's what people remember. They remember just sitting there with them. Great. Well, the next part of this is we would like to do a pinning.
Well, before we do that, is there anybody else that wanted to say anything? I don't think so, but I would like to put it out there. I saw Denise snuck in. She's hiding in the corner over there. Over there, I see her. You can't hide.
So Denise is one of Beal faculty, and she's probably the best faculty that we have, just to be honest.
She was
Probably
the scariest
real-
faculty.
I was-
I'm not gonna lie, we were scared to death.
So they see Denise after they see me, and I warned them for 8 weeks. They're gonna learn how to be real nurses when we start to talk to Denise. And they go from studying one subject, they studied the subject before me, which was maternity. So one part of the body, one subject, then psychiatry, one part of the body, one subject, and it's all overwhelming. And then they get to Denise. Every other part of the body, every other subject, every other lab value, every other procedure, intervention,
All the machinery.
all the machinery, oh my goodness, and they're scared to death when they get to her. And then they meet her after a day and they say, well, she's gonna really help me.
And she does. She probably learned the most in those last 2 classes that we had. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of short and sweet and to the point, kind of how I fly, but I did kind of jot down some things. First thing that I was thinking is perseverance. Like what you guys have made it through with COVID and with like just the astronomical hurdles that you guys have gone over to get through this and get to this point. And let alone just going through nursing school. That's tough by itself. The troubleshooting, that was part of that sets you up because that's half your job right there. Is here's the plan, how do we get the plan back on course? And I just wanted to say, that I am so proud of everybody. You guys really, my background is I was a float nurse for the better part of a decade. Well, between a couple different hospitals, and most of that was in the ER. And I really strive when I'm preparing you guys. I want to see you succeed. I'm kind of have that mindset of to be a good leader, you have to be a good servant. Give you what you need to see you succeed. But I also come with the perspective of what makes a good nurse. When you were talking about empathy, I was thinking of that. What separates a good nurse from a bad nurse, and you'll know it when you've had a bad nurse, because they're out there, let's be honest, is the empathy piece of it. So I wanted to give you guys what you needed, and I think you've got it, to be a good nurse, to take care of people, advocate for them, but then you also do it with the empathy piece of it, because that's what separates a good nurse, is getting you that warm blanket, advancing your diet, asking the doctor, can I take them off NPO if we're not doing that test so they can get something to eat? So just remember that when we're on practice. Another thing, perseverance, you've made it to this point, but that doesn't mean it's gonna be rough that first year, and I think you've all known it. It's gonna be rough, and continue to persevere. The stats of nursing in their first year of leaving is, what, 1 in 4, something like that. Persevere, it's worth it, persevere. And don't feel like you're alone, when you feel like you want to just give up and say, what did I do? Just continue to persevere. It's gonna be worth it. You will make it through it. You're gonna cry even 5 years out, even after you feel like you know what you're doing, you're gonna have your days that you go home and you're like, what just happened? Keep going, you can do it. And that comes from the perspective of seeing a lot of different nurses, and I think people that have gone through these courses, people in this room, I would be happy, if one of my parents, if you walked in the room, you were their nurse. We're proud of you.
Yes, share something? Hello, my name is David, and Nancy, is my mother, and I would just like to say a little something about her and what she's gone through to get to this point. First of all, I'll share that my parents were missionaries in Africa for many years, and my mom during the time there, she served as a what's the word? I don't know what the words come to mind. As a midwife, and she would go to she would help out the mothers there. And how many babies do you think you delivered then?
Maybe 100, 120.
Yeah. So my mom's been busy. She's when she was over there. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of others who've done help with me way more than that. But she was out in villages in Africa. Didn't have modern things needed for helping with those things. And she really loved these people, and she was there for them when they needed it most. And I know that she developed a lot in her desire to work with people that way. And in my mind, it all culminates with the fact that she had me in a hotel room. So, you know, I just kind of think she has some dedication to people. So I'm really thankful for my mom's desire to help people with that. And also, I'm amazed at her determination. Thank you, Gabby, for sharing everything you guys go through. I'm sure there's no way I could understand it without going through it myself. But my mom not only went through it once, she went through it twice. She was very close to finishing, some of you may know this, she was very close to finishing her course of study for college before she was not permitted to continue. And that was really hard, really hard. But my mom's not a quitter. And she did some research and was welcomed at Beal College. And I just want to thank Beal College. Thank you so much for the part that you played in that. And the atmosphere has been very, very helpful and encouraging to her. And it's a big deal, especially for my mom going through all that and then having another chance. And she stuck it out. She worked hard. And I know you guys know that because you did it too. But I just really admire my mom's determination and hard work. And I just want to thank you, Mom, for doing this. And we're going to continue to be here for you.
One thing I should say, and I appreciate you coming up here to talk about your mom, because one thing I do want to add is we went through a really rough time, I would say in the beginning of COVID. So probably March, April-ish, we were going through all of this stuff and our classes got booted to online and we were trying to do a bunch of different stuff. We had no idea what we were doing and it was just really hard and we were really mad at some things, we were really upset. And we were all just bickering and saying things we shouldn't have been saying, and it was just really hard. And Nancy was our mother hen in saving grace. She was, and she sent us a beautiful email. And in that email was just a lot of, you know, encouraging words and support and getting us to see her wisdom around certain things that we were blind to, we weren't seeing and taking for granted even. And I think that really gave us the motivation and a little bit more push to keep going and get through this COVID stuff while we were going to school. So she was really there for us in the beginning of all of that. So it doesn't surprise me, anything that you said, and I don't think my classmates are surprised either. Like, she's just been a godsend for us, and we do appreciate that, Nancy. So.
Looking at the adversity that this class has gone through, I mean, it's really been impressive. I mean, every single step of the way, there's been a hurdle, there's been a problem, they've all been overcome. You've all stuck together through it. So there's, you know, various concepts, and people would say, sometimes adversity drives people apart, but it's brought this group together. And we would like to actually replicate the hardships. I don't think it's possible to do, probably like illegal or something. But what has happened is this group has turned out so well. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, they have turned out to be like nurses that are going to go through just about anything in stride. And they're gonna fall back on their education, they're gonna fall back on their critical thinking skills and their ability to overcome and to be determined at everything that they do. And I think a lot of that has to do with the adversity. You know, sometimes we say that the hardships that we go through in our lives really do shape us. And I think that's probably true with this group. And I'd really love to figure out a way to replicate it in another classes. They probably would like us very well for good. On purpose. Anybody else like to say anything? So why don't we're gonna do a pseudo pinning. We couldn't get our pins. So what I'm gonna do is call off your name. And if you'd like to come up here, we'll get a candle.
Yep.
And then recognize you all.
Bring your pledge with you when you come.
So Alyssa, Lane. I don't think we'll all fit up here.
If you want, hold on, let me get the boxes down.
No, yeah, you're gonna have to
get everybody.
Does it, okay, yeah.
Just
yeah.
like from there back.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll make it easy. Where's Alyssa? Alyssa, you got it?
The keys, you'll probably just come right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, just hit it.
They can go up and then come
Is
around.
Andrea here? Andrea Nelson?
Andrea actually couldn't be here. So she wanted, and I thank you. That brings me, unfortunately, she had an exposure at work. So she's in quarantine right now. She's very disappointed. So she couldn't make it. Otherwise, she would have been here.
That brings up another point. So several of the students in this class have had exposures during clinical at their own work and have been tested positive during this whole process as well. Just to add a little bit of a, interesting.
Fine. Everything's fine.
Chris Phillips. Aaron? She's not here. Scott? Danielle? Ray? Dana? Victoria? Elizabeth?
Yes,
Here's Glory.
we're gonna move down.
Came down here. Polly didn't make it, probably, did you? A little bit. Joe Johnson? Jordan? Katie? Chrissy? Virginia? Mariah? Mariah's not the bad, church. Terry's not here, Megan's not here, Michael's not here, Michael's with Nancy. Sam. Scott didn't make it, she's trying to work out Stacy.
Stacy's not here either.
Stacy's with Steve Kine, I'll take it. And Tasha Sullivan. Figure out the drive.
I'm just gonna come up because I created that list. I'm like, it's not on it. Don't mind if I join you, dude.
I forgot your name. How could I forget? How could I overlook that? Pretty good looking group, huh? Of the new nurses, 2021. Cohort number 3, class of 2020. What I'd like to do is, yeah. I'll let you-
I practice.
So part of the tradition in the pinning ceremony is our benefactor in nursing, who is she's the person that really started off with the whole concept of holistic nursing. Oh, this is a long time ago, find me and more. So she actually taught us, maybe people don't know this, but the reason we wash our hands and we get to live through operations was because of Florence Nightingale. She actually found out that if you wash your hands, you don't hurt people, which is a very good thing that's happened. It took a while for doctors to buy into it, but nurses are the ones that actually make this stuff up. So, and this group will be making something up from now on. But she has a pledge that we'd like to recite together.
You guys ready? Ready. All right, let's go. I
solemnly pledge myself before God in the presence of this assembly to pass my life in purity and to practice my profession faithfully. I will abstain from whatever is deleterious and mischievous, and will not take, wrongly administer any harmful drug. I will do all in my power to maintain and elevate the standard of my profession, and will hold with confidence all personal matters committed to my keeping and all family affairs coming from my knowledge in the practice of my calling. With loyalty will I endeavor to aid in this mission in his work and devote myself to the welfare of those committed to my care.
May I request a better photo? Can we have the gentleman in front kneeling and the lady standing in the back?
You guys want to talk about photo op?
Well, yeah, maybe some ladies standing on the back and some ladies on the front and then men kneeling in the front.
Is it on?
Yeah, all you have to do is point and shoot.
There's no picture.
Oh, okay. That's better. That's much better. Can we do a masks off photo real quick?
Oh, sure.
Got it. Do it again.
There's no picture back there.
You have to push the other button.
There's a million buttons.
Just all you have to do is push the down button to take the picture back.
I did push the take the picture button and there's no picture.
Yeah.
You can go with them later.
We should all be in it.
I'll put hair myself.
Mine old was a picture.
All right. Mask himself back up. Thank you for coming.